Thank you both for being here. I'm so excited. I was really excited that both of you were able to come and kind of course, share your story with Cereset, but also share your mom experiences because you're just starting and you've been at it for a little bit, and both of you have different viewpoints, different history, of course. And so I really just want people to know that, we're here to support whoever needs help. But as a mom, you're wearing all the hats. I'm a mom. I wear all the hats too. And when you're transitioning from hat to hat to hat every day, it gets really hard. And so I just want this to be like, we see you to all the moms with all the hats out there today. I just want to hear about your lives prior to Cereset, and then how things are going now, and then just anything that you feel like would be helpful to share out into the world. You are more than welcome to talk about your nonprofit. Yeah. Um, and you're excited for your new job starting in social work. So,
Yes.
I want to bring in all the real life parts of who we are, because that's what makes this very real. I'm already going to tear up because this is so important. I'm so excited, and I'm glad that you guys decided to share and be in here today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sarah, can we start with you and
Sure.
just start? You can say your name and whatever else you want to share about what life stage you're in, if you're single or married, and all the things.
Yeah, well, I'm Sarah Collins, and I am 39, looking at 40 here in the next couple weeks. So,
Congratulations.
a mom of four kiddos, three on earth and one in heaven. And this year will mark the 10-year anniversary of our little girl's passing from cancer. Um, I'm married to my middle school sweetheart, Tyson, and we are just in a very, very active stage of life. And it's wonderful, but I think last fall I just kind of hit a wall and life got real messy for me trying to juggle all the hats. I have been diagnosed with PTSD, and it's just I've never really managed it, but I've always made it through knowing that I have it. High anxiety, high stress, but you add 39 getting ready to be 40 and perimenopause into the mix of that, and then kiddos who are very active and in sports, and I'm a real estate agent, and I also have a nonprofit. It's the Paisley Collins Memorial Foundation, and we provide financial assistance to pediatric cancer families while they're going through treatment with their little one. So we were having a big event last fall, and it's a beautiful life, but it just got completely overwhelming. And I had heard about Cereset, and I think when I came to you, it was just at the point of help me. And I will never forget, just even after my first session, I left. I had a few hours before I needed to go pick up my kids, and I went to Home Goods. And I was walking through the store, and I was just calm. And I couldn't believe that in just one session, my brain does not work that way. My husband always says that if you could peek in there, it would be like a slot machine, just going like 90 to nothing. And that's how I felt. And it was an amazing feeling, just being calm and a lot more calmer. So yeah, I don't know. I threw it all at you there, but
Yeah, no, that's great.
yeah. So
Yeah, so you were able to feel a difference from the first session, and that doesn't always happen.
right. And you had kind of,
Yeah.
explained to me and warned me. So I didn't. I really just thought, whatever happens, happens, and we'll see. But I was just walking slower through the store. I was just calm and that's not a feeling that I'm quite used to. So, and then I will say that evening, I don't sleep very well. and I slept the hardest that I have slept in, well, maybe ever. My husband said that he had to go to another room because I was snoring, and I don't snore either. I just don't, And so that first night, and it's gotten better, but it's still I sleep, and it's changed my life. So, um, just in some wonderful ways. So
Excellent. Well, thank you.
yeah.
Jenny?
I'm Jenny Morrow. I recently graduated from college 2 years ago and also got married 2 years ago. And my husband and I got pregnant like twice, actually, like 3 months after getting married. Wasn't planned, but we're happy that we have our little kiddo. And I'm also just a recent mom. He just turned 6 months. He's a little cutie. Um, when I got pregnant, I had an episode of PTSD. I've dealt with PTSD before. For the very first time was in 2022. I just recently joined the military, and I guess the environment kind of triggered PTSD for me. Um, and it kind of went on its own. I didn't really do any treatment or anything like that. I just maybe in a way learned to cope with it. Um, and it got really, really bad when I got pregnant, and it was a very, very hard time. After I gave birth, my husband and I were going through a little bit of marital issues. I had to move back with my parents, and I started therapy. And that's when the therapist was like, "Hey, have you ever heard of Cereset?" And I was like, "No, what is that?" And she kind of like explained it to me, how it has helped military vets and stuff like that. And I was like, "Sure." I mean, at this point, what do I have to lose?
Right. Yeah.
I was very desperate to just, anything. And so, yeah, I had my first session, and it was very life changing. Like you said, like I slept for the very first time
Yeah.
too in a very long time. And after that, I also like noticed differences in like just the way that I behaved. My anxiety went down by a lot. I wasn't as depressed anymore. And I would say like, especially being postpartum, um, I had a midwife, and my midwife was always on the lookout because um, PTSD and postpartum don't match well. And so she was very, very worried that I was at very high risk for a very intensive postpartum depression. And I'm glad that that did not happen. And I can attribute it to Cereset, because I started the treatment, the sessions probably 2 to 3 months after I gave birth. Um, yeah, I didn't go through any postpartum depression or anxiety or anything like that. And yeah, I'm very, very grateful for that.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's all.
Well, I do remember that first day when you came in. I think your husband came with you that day,
Yeah.
and you were a mom zombie.
Oh yeah.
You
Hadn't
were,
slept for days or
yes.
probably weeks.
Yeah, but it was fun to see because you were coming once a week, and every time you came back, you had a little bit more pep in your step, and
Mhm.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was fun to watch the transition.
Yeah, it really brought my spark back. Like my husband says every time, it's like, wow, this has been really life changing. Like you can literally see like a night and day difference, about even how I behave, even how like I process things. I process things a lot faster. Um, Even whenever I go through like, I wouldn't even call them depression episodes anymore. It's just like whenever you're going through, I mean, life is hard, but I'm not in that constant like fight or flight or stuck in that stage anymore. It probably lasts for like 1 to maybe 2 days. And then after that, I'm just like snapped out of it and keep going on with life. So, yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's a really good thing you brought up because we can have moods,
Yes.
and moods are temporary.
Mhm.
And then when we get stuck in a mood, it becomes more of a behavior and more of our, kind of starts to fill out who we are as a person. And nobody wants to be a depressed person all the time, all the time. I think we should be able to experience all of the emotions because I believe that all of the emotions are healthy.
Yes.
But being able to transition in between emotions when it's appropriate, that's, my goal for myself and whoever I might see here. Because we need to be able to act and we need able to be quiet sometimes. We need reflective. Um, we need to be able to be sad and grievous sometimes. There's definitely a time for that. But to be stuck there is a really, really hard thing. So I'm so glad that you don't feel like you're stuck.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
great.
I'm very happy about that too. And even, especially with PTSD, my trauma basically comes from um, sexual abuse as a little kid, from like age 3 to 16. And having those PTSD episodes, especially as a newly wed wife, it's like really hard because you don't have that constant intimacy with your husband and stuff. And so it definitely created a lot of issues there. And just now, just being able to be intimate with my husband physically and also just him being around me without having to, your body tensing up or having to like feel that fight or flight.
Mhm.
It's really, really great.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, you're already starting to share about how this has, impacted your marriage
It
because
has,
when
yeah.
someone gets help, whether it's Cereset or anything else, it does impact them, but it affects the whole family
Mhm.
dynamic. And so I was just wondering if there's anything you'd like to share about how you noticed the rest of your family being impacted by you, coming to Cereset.
Yeah. Do you mean like before or after Sarah said?
Either one.
Either.
Yeah.
Okay. So before, obviously, like how I said before, um, we couldn't really be intimate, and it felt like he had to walk on like a lot of eggshells around me because you wouldn't know because my moods were like crazy,
Mhm.
always up and down. And so he wouldn't know like, yeah, she's in a good mood today, or and things like that. But now I feel a little bit more stable and calmer and stuff, and so um, he can. There's a difference in how he approaches me in
Okay.
situations and stuff like that because now he knows like, hey, I can approach her and she won't. I will receive it better
Yeah.
now than I did before. And it has created a calm and peaceful place in our home, which was definitely needed and very, very grateful for.
Thank you. What about you, Sarah?
Yeah, I feel very much the same. I think everybody in my household was walking on eggshells, and had been for quite some time. But yeah, it's just a much calmer environment. I would say at this point, I began therapy as well last fall. I kind of everything kind of hit at once for me, and I began seeing a functional doctor for my hormones. I began therapy. I'd always knew I wanted to go to therapy, but I was scared and let fear overrule that. I think I was just fearful of bringing up the past and what we went through and the trauma of losing a child. And um, but I just got to a point last fall where it was something had to change, and it was my therapist as well who had asked if I'd ever heard of Cereset. And once I began that, then I would say my husband and I's relationship now, we didn't have issues before, but it's just like we were living. We were living, and same thing. He was on eggshells, just trying to figure out what Sarah he was going to get each day. And I would snap at my kids, and I was just, I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know how to fix it. And I was been stuck in fight or flight mode as well for quite some time. And now it's just, it's our marriage, I would say, is the best that it's ever been. Didn't think that it could get to this point, but we're just, thank goodness, you know what I mean? And I look forward to seeing him every day. I look forward to just being around him. And it's a much calmer place and happier. And it's like, this is living. This is how we're supposed to be living. And it's truly just changed everything for the better all the way around. The whole family dynamic is, it's like the saying, if mama ain't happy, nobody's happy. And it's like, we're all in a much better place, I feel like, right now. So,
Fantastic.
yeah.
Well, I kind of want to switch gears and talk about just the nuts and bolts of your experience. So, um, were you, anxious or nervous coming in when you saw the chair and all the little sensors we put on your head? Like, did you get any kind of anxious feeling, or were you able just to relax right off the bat? Um, was there any, like, paste residue? Like, that's a thing.
No, for me, I remember that first one. I was very anxious. I mean, I'm an anxious person, anyways, and I didn't know what to expect, to be honest. And but I think it was towards the end of that first session. Um, I remember like I almost fell into this. It was almost like an out of body experience one moment. Like I just had this moment of, oh my gosh. And I would say after the first session on, then I knew what to expect and I was able to relax. And I really started looking forward to, it was like that one time a week that I was coming and and just have that moment of relaxation. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I would say the same as well. I had to bring my husband because I was like, oh, this is a new environment. I've never been there. And so I was very anxious. And then I just thought, like, maybe if I have him there, like, it will help me calm down a little bit more. Um, so that's why he was here. But during the first session at least, my brain is always like on the go. It never stops running. But during that first session, it was a lot more quieter. And I think I fell asleep during the first session. I went to a very, very deep sleep. And when I woke up, I was like, oh my gosh, I feel great. I feel amazing. Like I actually got some rest. And I think during all my sessions, I always look forward to it because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to feel great because I always take a nap during my
Yeah.
sessions. Yeah, it's like my quiet time, like kind of like self-care time.
Mhm. So I wanted to ask you both, like, if you had just a minute to share about your experience or tell somebody, a friend of yours, why you thought it might be helpful for them. Um, like, what would you say in the 1 minute? Why?
I would say just relate it back to moms or just where I am at in life. I know that I'm more than likely not alone. And it's not, you don't have to lose a child or have PTSD or any of those things to probably have a brain that's just going 90 to nothing and feel overwhelmed and stressed and angst and even as a new mom, but just wearing all those hats and just feeling completely overwhelmed. It truly just made my life. It changed my life, and it was able to just calm everything, stop the brain from just running 90 to nothing, and just kind of made me stop and smell the roses. And if I had to explain to somebody, it'd be like your brain's an orchestra, a beautiful orchestra, but it's out of tune, and it just it's able to hear itself and put it back in tune naturally instead of like forcing it. And that's that's kind of how I feel now. So
Okay. I agree. I've actually been talking to my friends about it. My best friends, we kind of have similar background and trauma, and she also recently got married last year, and she's also going through the same kind of like the same issues. Except whenever she brought it up, she didn't even know it was PTSD, and I was like, oh girl, that's PTSD. And I was like, you should try Cereset, and it changed my life. And she actually came out and asked me, like, I've noticed like the way that you act is very, very different. Like everyone can tell like the way that I am is there's a huge difference. So I was just telling her like, yeah, try therapy and Cereset, book yourself a few sessions, and you would definitely tell the difference. And I've been heavily advertising it to all my girlfriends, um, just because of where I'm at now from being a new mom and being newlywed, and just knowing the stats, especially on sexual abuse, like it happens to 1 to 4 women. And so there's a lot of women that go through the same thing. And since it has changed my life, and I know like all my friends who are about to get married or just got married that have the same experience will face the same thing. And so I want them to experience the same freedom, especially before having kids, because life is going to get more chaotic after. And you want to deal with these issues before you start forming a family, before life gets even harder and stuff, before you lose yourself in the midst of that. Like if you can prevent it before, you will thank yourself later.
Thank you. Yeah. All right. Well, is there just anything else that pops out in your brain that you'd like to talk about?
I want to talk about hobbies.
Okay, let's
That's like
talk
an
about
important one.
hobbies. Yeah.
Yeah. Before Sarah said, it was hard for me to get back into like my things that I love doing, like painting, running, exercising, baking, and stuff like that. And I guess also just being in like that fight or flight, you kind of like lose the joy of life, joy of doing the things that you love, doing the things that renew or bring back life into your life. But I think after like the first 2 sessions, I was like, oh, I kind of want to paint. And yeah, and started painting again and even hanging out with my friends. And now, like I was telling you before, like, hey, my goal is to like get out of the house a little bit more and things like that. And literally, I barely spend time at home. And my husband always sees me at night now. He's like, hey, where are you? Like, I'm like, oh, I'm out with a friend or something like that, and things like that. Or I even take trips. Like last week, I took a trip to Arkansas and went to go see, on a tulip farm and things like that. Like, I get to now enjoy the things that I love to do and just enjoy life a little bit more. It feels like life has a little bit of color now, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. It made me tear up because I hadn't thought of it that way. Like you said, it just, when you're stuck in the fight or flight, everything kind of gets dim and you're just in this pattern and you're living, but you're not really living. And I became a recluse, I think, for several years, not even really realizing it, but I didn't want to hang out with friends. I had social anxiety. I didn't bake anymore. I used to love to bake. I didn't do that. So gosh, when you said that, I was just like, oh my gosh. And you're right. I mean, it's brought back, I would say the old Sarah, like it's brought back to where I'm just enjoying life as you should. But when you don't have the tools or you don't know how, and this was just a huge tool in the toolbox to start enjoying life again.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Yeah, thank you both. This has been like a blessing for me to get to hear you share more of your stories. And I hope that it blesses other people who get to see and listen to you today. Thank you.